Hey there, everybody. So it's about 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, August 12th, 2023. And, the reason why I'm up at this hour is because some people have gone on a rather egregious harassment campaign against some of my people as a sort of counter response to my counter response. So, for some of you who can't really comprehend what's been going on, if you follow me on some of my other platforms, part of the issue is that you're brainwashed and you're programmed, and you believe that the Sound of Freedom movie was legitimately beneficial with a legitimately beneficial intent. You don't understand that that was an entrapment plot to get whistleblowers, etc., to report child trafficking to this other organization that is illegitimate and not actually meaningfully working on child trafficking. Because try to understand that somebody might go on like 2 or a handful of child trafficking stings to garner the appearance of legitimacy for themselves, but that doesn't mean that their foundational reason for existing is actually to help children. Okay, so they set up a bit of a snare to get people who do not really trust the, let's say, the typical police or FBI to think that they could call into this other organization to report child trafficking so that they could then target those people and murder them, okay? And that's exactly why some of them won't go to the FBI and the police if they already understand that their organizations are corrupt, etc. So I don't know why they trust this movie that has gotten cabal approval to play in theaters, okay, worldwide. People just, they want to have hope in good people, okay, and they place their hopes and their trust in the wrong place. But so anyways, what happened is we had launched a counter operation against this Sound of Freedom entrapment scheme that they're running, okay, so that we can basically pull all the intelligence of anybody contacting those people and get to them before the other people get to them, okay, and then actually respond to the circumstances that they are reporting about child trafficking, rather than having them go into a black hole, okay. So what happened is, predictably, because we were expecting a lot of sabotage, and the cabal knows that we're expecting a lot of sabotage of our men, more along the lines of like booby traps, etc., 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 that would likely also involve real children, okay? But the counter operation that the cabal launched against us is much more demonic and malignant and not terribly unexpected. And that counter operation was simply the plan that had not really yet gotten underway to start severely mutilating and torturing children and leaving them in severely mutilated, barely alive state, and then calling in to basically ensnare our men to come out on an operation to come pick up these children who had been intentionally severely mutilated for the purpose of committing psychological warfare and terror against our people, our law enforcement, our special operations, who are working on actually trying to look after these child trafficking situations that are getting reported. Okay, so for some of you who are not aware, the Kushner brothers, Jared and Joshua, okay, they grew up having people like Bibi Netanyahu coming to stay in their home when he was in on overseas visits. They grew up basically filleting George Soros, proverbially, figuratively filleting George Soros for investment money, okay? They are not good people. Their father was prosecuted for witness tampering, okay, because of an election scheme issue, but he was committing witness tampering against his brother-in-law. I went over this in the Ivanka video series, but he set up a prostitute ensnared his brother-in-law with a prostitute in a hotel room and filmed a sex tape, and then sent the sex tape to his own sister, is what Joshua and Jared's father did. Okay, these are not good people, and they're part of a criminal cult mafia, okay, as are a number of the so-called elite. But Jared was rightfully not qualified for a security clearance. Despite that, he was able to use his other criminal cult mafia connections to get a lot of intelligence that he wasn't qualified to have to give to MBS of Saudi Arabia. And they exchanged it for a vast sum of money. It was like a $2 billion with a B, $1 billion of an investment that was basically traded for this illegal intelligence, okay, that he was not authorized to share, and he was not even authorized to have. Okay, this enough. He should have hung for this, okay? Try to understand. But another thing that people don't understand is there is a psyop, a programming psyop to say, oh, Donald was just too stupid to know what the death cult had in mind, regarding these circumstances of a couple of years ago. And that is just simply not the case. He was actually warned about that, all well in advance. We tried to get ahead of it. He refused to allow us. Okay, he's controlled by the extremist, quote-unquote, messianic death cult faction. Okay. So, Ivanka and Jared, they were having little get-togethers. They were going to the Alfalfa, private club dinners with Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and all that. They're part of the Davos and the WEF, Young Global Leaders crowd. Okay. And then Jared basically participated in a lot of kind of sort of like racketeering and getting a lot of money filtered over to his brother, Joshua Kushner, and Oscar Health. Okay, during that whole, events of a couple of years ago, they siphoned out a whole bunch of money over to Joshua Kushner's business. Okay, so people who want to complain about the Biden family, you need to understand that what they did, there's a lot of bad stuff going on with them, but what the Kushners were mixed up with, okay? And again, I don't know how well I went over this. Ivanka and Jared were never legally allowed to even serve as senior advisors. The single only reason why they got away with that, because despite them not getting paid in their roles as senior advisors, it was never legal. The reason why they got away with that is because, again, Joseph E. Schmitz, who used to be the IG of the DOD, spent his entire time as IG of the DOD illegally amassing massive, wide-reaching blackmail dossiers against people of all levels. And then he would officially, quote-unquote, supposedly find no wrongdoing in his investigations because it was all getting siphoned off into blackmail dossier files, which he then brought over as the head of Blackwater's parent company. Okay, so when Donald put Joseph E. Schmitz on his transition team, okay, Joseph E. Schmitz is the brother of infamous pedophile Mary Kay Letourneau. Okay, so when Joseph E. Schmitz was on Trump's transition team, it was a signal to everybody that, yeah, we have the blackmail, so just pretend to bother us, but don't actually. Okay, people don't understand that's a big part of this whole dog and pony show, is that Donald was basically running the administration, everything, with the most extensive blackmail dossier files that have ever existed. Okay. People can't understand the significance of that. People don't even know who Joseph E. Schmitz is. I'm telling you, he's somebody you need to understand who he is. Okay. George Nader, also a known convicted pedophile, was on Donald Trump's transition team. And he was there to clown around. He's a, Mossad asset. Okay, as is Jared, as is Ivanka. So I allege, but no, they are, okay? I don't care if they want to commit lawfare against me. So anyways, what had happened in regards to these counter-ops on our counter-ops to the Sound of Freedom clown show is that Joshua Kushner, he even publicly kind of came out and said, hello, cabal leadership. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to elevate myself within the cabal, however evil. That's what Joshua Kushner did. Okay? And then Karlie Kloss, his wife, was gloating over the fact that they were nominated to get an opportunity to elevate themselves in the cabal. Okay, and again, this was through an operation that was going to entail having vast quantities of children over the course of the following years mutilated grotesquely, unimaginably, beyond what people could believe any human being would be capable of doing. Okay, for the sole purpose of terrorizing our people who are working on actual legitimate child trafficking operations, counter child trafficking operations. Okay, they wanted to be the ones that were so powerful that they were terrorizing our special forces and our law enforcement, working to protect children and to remove children from houses they don't belong in. So the reason why I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning making this video is because, I came down on Karlie for being the nasty gash that she is. Okay? By the way, she's just a yacht girl. She's David Geffen's yacht girl. Okay? And she's a prostitute. And her, I guess rewards for being David Geffen's yacht girl has been to be elevated within the cabal, and she caught Joshua Kushner's eye, and he's, reasonably high up within the cabal, but at a more pedestrian level, he's wanting to get to the upper echelons of the cabal through this mutilation against children operation to terrorize our people. Okay, so these people are not normal. If you think that this is about some sort of left-right political thing, well, first of all, you got to understand that these people that control Donald, they are not conservatives. It's just a criminal called mafia, okay? And they're extreme progressivists. They hang out with the who's who of DARPA dog clowns, okay? And worse, they hang out with all the death cultists. They meet with the death cultists. They brag about attacking you, okay? You guys don't even know some of the dystopian stuff that they are low-key humble bragging about. Just like I've tried to tell you before, that Mossad assets, they regularly brag about their operations right in front of you while you're supporting them and cheering them on, because you don't realize that they're bragging. They're not actually feeling bad about what just happened, the operation that, destroyed whatever or killed however many people. They're bragging about it because they're like a part of it. Okay, so everybody that knows they're a part of it understands that they're bragging and that you're cheering them on bragging. Okay, but the same thing, Ivanka does a lot of stuff like that too. And then a lot of other things she's done to provoke me in the past as well, like my farm to family initiative. Okay, that was my initiative. She decided to be the head of that instead of just letting the rightful person, Mr. Perdue, be the head of that. She wanted to pretend like that was her initiative when it was actually mine. Okay, I actually have lots of initiatives. I don't want to get into it right now, but that's why I'm making a video at 4 o'clock in the morning, because Joshua Kushner and Karlie Kloss want to mutilate a whole bunch of innocent children to elevate themselves within the cabal. And if that happens, okay, you guys just try, see what's going to happen, because terrible things are going to start happening. Okay? You guys do that, terrible things are going to start happening. And let's see. To some of the counterterrorism people that come down on me, I've told them, and I will reiterate, that after a certain level, the only effective counterterrorism, truly effective, efficacious, actually effective counterterrorism, because most of you people who pretend to be involved in counterterrorism are not qualified. Okay? But after a certain level, the only effective counterterrorism is what is called superior terrorism. Righteous terrorism. Okay? So if you guys want to punish us for just doing good work, there will be a response. And probably, quite possibly at this point, the whole world may end up learning that things are super not right in the world right now. Goodbye.